Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. Again, sorry for the lateness, this being the second part of this series. Looking at infantry equipment of the British Army. So obviously some little bits have to be missed out just because of I don't have access to certain pieces of equipment. Hopefully in the future I can have access to these pieces of equipment. These sets of equipment, these webbing sets or whatever, etc. Again, hopefully I have access to them in the future and I can do little add-on episodes to the series and then we can follow on from there. But in this episode, we're looking at 37 pattern webbing, primarily that of the early war period. This also will encompass sort of gas equipment of that era as well, because it sort of goes together with how it was all set up. And then the video after this should hopefully be looking at it at 37 pattern webbing equipment in the later part of the Second World War as well. So in the previous episode, obviously we looked at 1908, which was used during the Great War, and also to some extent was used during the Second World War as well, especially in the early part, and also by troops stationed elsewhere around the world, like for example in the Far East and in the Middle East and that as well. You can see it pop up. So we looked at that previously, and let's get on to the new video with 37 pattern webbing. Let's go. Okay, so here we have the 1937 pattern equipment with the addition of the anti-gas equipment as well, as seen in the early part of the war. So we'll crack on with the video. So starting off, we have the ammunition pouches, or Brem pouches, or utility pouches, many different names. So the idea of the 37 pattern equipment, which is obviously the next stage on, really, mainly from the 1908, going away from cartridge carriers, with the new addition of the Bren light machine gun as the main infantry weapon, light machine gun I should say, to support the section. So the main focus of the equipment and the section was to support the Bren gun. So each man in the section would carry at least 2 magazines to support that gun. So thus why you have these large rectangular pouches. So just open this here and you can see 2 Bren gun magazines in here. In the other one, you would carry your own ammunition, so the soldier itself would be carrying more ammunition for the machine gun, the Bren gun, than his own rifle. So in the early part of the war, you would be carrying 50 rounds of 303 SAA ball ammunition in a bandolier. So carry that in there with probably a Mills bomb or 2, or maybe mortar bombs or smoke grenades or other different types of grenades used at this period. Would be carried in the other one here. So as you can see, this is in the sort of light green, pea green colour, as quite noted of the early war period. You can see a different sort of adaptation, obviously, of the 37 pattern equipment over the 1908 is the haversack itself. So the small pack, sometimes known as, but it should be called a haversack, is independent from the equipment itself. It's attached with L straps as the main straps, attached by hooks, which attached to the top of the pouches itself, unlike the 1908, which was attached to the cross straps by buckles, so it was stayed on until you unbuckled it. So this one you could be removed separately. However, I do prefer the 1908. It's a bit more comfortable in the way it wears. But yeah, so that's that. So as you can see from the belt, unlike the 1908, this is a Mills type, just basically male and female, like hook and hole. So one passes through the other. And hooks on the other side, and you have these 2 brass keepers as well to adjust the belt with as well. Much more quicker way of taking on and off the belt. Say then the 1908, which was basically just like a large buckle, which one end passed through and looped back round, and then you pulled it tight on that end. Still a very good idea, but this is much more quicker and simpler, a bit more easy to produce as well than the large buckle. Later on, this will go away from brass. So this is brass. Late war economy versions would be steel fittings and that as well. But that's basically that. And it's a smaller belt, so this is a 2-inch rather than the 3-inch wide belt of the 1908. So 37 from there. As I said, the 37 pattern haversack is on L straps, and also as you can see here, which we'll go into in the later video as well, this has 37 pattern is done with the early ones anyway, what you see in the early war, 39, 1940, Battle of France, etc., reduction weave webbing. So the Mills company perfected this technique of basically it sort of tapers down very, very neatly, keeps it very uniform, very sleek sort of design. When the later part of the war, with different companies taking on the manufacturing of 37-pattern webbing, couldn't really do the reduction weave. It was very time consuming, very costly. Basically would just sew one bit onto another, etc. Very much the economy version, and we'll get into seeing those later. But yeah, this is reduction weave, so that's on the haversack straps and also on the, we can just see as well under here, on the cross straps as well. This one's a bit more or less, but basically still this type of reduction weave, really. But yeah, really, really nice. Keeps it nice and slimline and streamlined on that as well. So yeah, so as I said, brain gun Magnum 1 to support the brain gun, and then your own ammunition as well as grenades, etc. will be kept in here. Later, all the different things will change in what will go in here. Different. So these are Mark II pouches. The earlier ones are I think have stiffeners on the side. They also have special loops inside on the lid. I think that's if I might be wrong. So little loops on the lid for blank cartridges, basically for using for rifle grenades. They would be removed on the Mark IIs, and then the Mark IIIs are slightly bigger to accompany STEM magazines. But again, we'll get into that in a later date. So that's that. So whilst we're looking at the front, we'll also look at the anti-gas equipment. So we see the Mark VI respirator bag with its respirator in, so the small box respirator, so the general service respirator. Sorry. So we have main flap itself, which is open at the moment, so it's easy to access. Sometimes this will just be tucked. Obviously, it has got snaps as well. But the quick ready position would be you unbutton this, tuck it in, and it's quick to deploy if need be. So there's the respirator itself in there. So there's there's the pipe, the hose, and the canister and that as well, the face piece. And here's the pockets for the ice shields and the anti-gas ointment, etc., and all the other accessories, and that will go in different pockets, etc. in here. So that's the respirator itself. It's attached obviously by its main cross strap. Let me just remove the helmet. Excuse me. By its main shoulder strap, it's been shortened, put around the neck, and then it's tightened to the body by its whip cord. So it comes off the haversack here, through this D-ring, round the body, passes through the cross strap, back under the arm, and then back round and ties off on the other D-ring in the air, keeping it tight to the body and in the ready position. There are different methods of how to wear it, etc. I will link a video from Simon of Rifleman Moore channel, who does a very, very good video with Ramsey Green about anti-gas equipment during the war, etc. So that's really, really good video. I would suggest you watch it. Also, you can see attached to it by these white tapes is the gas cape, which we'll get into as we go further around. But basically, how it's attached is the tapes, as it's been rolled on the back, or below, they're passed over the arms, one on each side, back round, and they are so over the arms, back under, and tied here, and then over the shoulders, back over, through the D-rings, and then they tie from the middle with a bow, or however you want to knot it. And when you undo this, it will drop down over the body, and then it can be donned very quickly for protection against gas, etc. Or as a very effective rain cape as well. So really, really good at that. Really, really effective. So we'll quickly spin around to the side, as you can see the other side. As you can see, the gas buzzard, obviously for detecting gas vapor and other things of that nature. Excuse me, it will change colour. So just move the arm out of the way. Here we can see the water bottle. Basically exactly the same water bottle used during the Great War. Blue enamel with felt cover. The carrier itself is very similar that used during the Great War. Slightly different way of snapping it as well to attach. But it's using the smaller, obviously 1-inch straps of the 37-pattern equipment compared to the larger 2-inch of the 1908. And it's in this sort of skeleton cradle at the moment. As I said, similar to that of the Great War. Later war, we will go to a sleeve type, as we'll see in the later video as well. So that's the water bottle itself. As I said, the cross straps are these 1-inch, and they expand to a 2-inch on the shoulders. And then we'll spin round to the other side quickly before we go to the back. To get the arm out of the way. We we can see the 1907 pattern bayonet. Obviously, the British Army is still using the #1 Mark III Star, or Mark III, or whatever you issued, really, but mainly the Star. SMLE at the point, so this is the 1907 bayonet. Obviously, we'll go to a shorter style pig sticker with the #4 later in the war. Let's quickly just do that up again. Oh, forget it. So yeah, that's on that, and as you can see, the bottom part of the L strap for the haversack here, and the way the whip cord comes round and then passes through the top or back of the haversack strap for the respirator, and obviously where the excuse me, that was my stomach. Just passes through there. And then we say the haversack itself. So the haversack is a lot larger than the 1908 small pack or 1908 haversack. I would say twice as large, a much more Spoxier shape, really. It has 3 compartments. The larger compartment is against the back itself. Normally you have your small kit, etc. in there, and your wash roll and your wash kit all will go in there. In the front pockets for basically when the equipment was designed in 1937, well, brought in 1937, the idea was there would be no water bottle carrier. The water bottle would be carried because they wanted to keep everything away from below the waist. So the water bottle would be carried in the haversack, your mess tins in the other, and all the other kit would be carried in there, and everything else would be carried in your large pack. That was changed. The carrier was introduced, so the water bottle went from inside the haversack to there. I have got another water bottle in here, obviously just for extra water. Sort of that's how it's sort of set up, and then mess tins, etc. But yeah, the water bottle went to the waist. There was an entrenching tool as well, which was 1939 pattern entrenching tool, which was seen a few times in the 1939 early 40 period of in France, but was rarely used. You see it pop up again in training in 1941-42, but again was never really used in theatre to an extent. Well, never really used in combat either as well, compared to the later one which was brought in, which was basically the redesign of the 1908 pattern entrenching tool, redesigned for the 37 pattern webbing, which we'll get into, as I said, in the later video. So we'll quickly have a quick look in the haversack to show you sort of the compartmentalisation of how it is. So here we go. Here we just lift up the flap on the haversack. This is a 1940 dated one as well, which is nice. So here we see the 3 compartments. So the main compartment at the back. So you'll have your soft kit down here. So your pullover, comforters, extra pairs of socks, and things of that nature. And then we've got the rush roll on top. As I said, I've got another water bottle in here. Not really the case in general, but I thought it just sort of fits nicely, and also maybe you guys will try and get another water bottle for more water, especially on the retreat back towards Dunkirk, etc. And the mess tins in here, obviously you might put some other things in here, stop like the mess tins rattling, and it keeps it's extra space as well, etc. And obviously your whatever rations you'll carry might go in the mess tins as well. So that's basically the layout of the haversack. As I said, a lot larger than the 1908 pack that we've seen before. Basically by about twice the size, twice the volume. So really, really nice. And obviously closes with the little buckles, basically exactly like it was before. And obviously the straps connects to basically the same brass buckle things, tabs, brass buckles, not tabs, that we used on the 1908 pack and equipment to attach them. Were basically one part with the haversack in general, so it could be, you could attach the L straps, and these could be removed and then put onto the 08 pack, so it could be used in both, which is really, really great. So they the hangover, the 1908 pack was still being used with the 37, and could be worn independently with this as well, which is great. So that's basically it, really, for the 1937 pattern webbing of the early war period. So this is 1939-40, mainly 1940 anyway, but yeah, obviously with the anti-gas equipment, etc., all donned, which makes the whole system more sort of, you can visualize it better how it was really all worn together. But yeah, so hope that's been interesting, and now we'll cut back to the end bit. So I really, really hope you enjoyed that. Any questions, please leave a comment down below. If you want to like and subscribe, that'd be amazing if you can do that. But I really, really appreciate any support you can give. So, as I said, this is part 2, obviously, to the webbing series. As I said at the beginning, I will, if when I get access to certain pieces of equipment I don't have access to within my own collection, I will do expansion videos on them as we go forward. But in the next video, we will be looking at the 37 pattern equipment as seen sort of in the later part of the war. And I will hopefully add in some shots as well, maybe, or maybe some shorter videos of it used during different parts of the war, how it looked to use in the Far East, how it was used in the Middle East, and in the Italian campaign, North African campaign. I will hopefully look into those bits as well, just because there's their own little nuances. So yeah, and then hopefully the next full video in this series will be on 1944 pattern webbing equipment. So, and then obviously so on and so forth. So thank you again for watching. See you guys later. Bye guys.